morning, world, it's a brand new day.
We are on television in Lansing and Jackson and radio stations all across the state of Michigan. Michael Patrick Shields, glad to have you with us. The Center for Automotive Research, for what it's worth, says that if Michigan becomes a right-to-work state, and it sure looks like it will, don't expect an immediate exodus of members from the UAW. They say that the UAW members, the UAW has a lot of roots in Michigan. People enjoy having a voice in what happens with their contracts and their companies and their facilities. They're used to paying union dues. So you wouldn't expect a mass exodus. Nevertheless, too, the contracts don't expire till 2015, so it wouldn't happen fast. Talks continued today between Lieutenant Governor Brian Kelly and local government officials about the personal property tax. Obviously now, with everything else going on, it's a strain, but they are still trying to get some reform in that area. We are right across the street from the Capitol in our AT&T studio here, and Captain Harold Love, Public Affairs Liaison for the Michigan State Police, is with us. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Good morning.
We shook hands a minute ago, and your hands were cold. Seems like you've been out there for a while already.
I have been outside for a couple of hours, and yes, it's very cold.
Mark Brewer was in the studio sitting next to you where you are just a little while ago, and he thought that the idea that we're seeing stories about riot gear and billy clubs and that sort of thing would really sort of throw gas on the fire and ramp up the situation a little bit. What sort of precautions and protections have you made in advance of today?
Okay, first of all, they're not billy clubs. Riot gear is something that troopers routinely carry with them, even when they're working their normal shift. But whenever we mobilize troopers into any type of a situation, whether it's a planned event or some type of uprising, they always bring their riot gear with them. That's to ensure their safety while they're trying to ensure the safety of everybody else.
10,000 people is the number anticipated today. We don't know for sure if it would be more. Maybe it'll be less. Right. But we know that anytime you put a lot of people together in a space that's not designed for a lot of people, particularly in an emotional situation, things will happen.
Absolutely. And that's the reason, again, for deploying the amount of resources that we have. We have troopers mobilized from all over the state so that we can keep a handle on things. You want to make sure that everyone who comes to the Capitol today, whether it's members of our legislature, staffers, or people just simply coming out to exercise their rights to free speech, are able to do that in a safe manner.
Will it be difficult to get the legislators in and out of the building?
It'll be a challenge, but difficult, no. Again, we've got troopers in place right now so that we can just maintain control from the onset and make sure that the legislators are able to get in and out of the building.
How will you do it? I think the other night it was sort of a human chain of troopers, right? And you walk through?
Well, yeah, we'll make sure we keep the egresses open so that there's an even flow of traffic in every area of the Capitol today.
Is it true that you will have undercover officers mixed into the crowd to keep an eye on things?
Well, that's a part of our strategic planning, the details of our plan here. So, of course, there's a lot of those things that we won't disclose. But, yeah, we've taken every measure to ensure that we're able to keep an eye on everything, assess things as they unfold today, and then make sure that everything is safe for everyone.
Have you had any specific threats?
No, none that we've no, we haven't had any specific threats.
There were protesters yesterday in Detroit when the governor was getting an award at a restaurant in Southwest Detroit, and we understand outside his home, or at least outside the gated community where he lives in Ann Arbor, that most people consider protesting at someone's home out of bounds, whether you're the governor or a state legislator or anybody.
Well, Michigan State Police provides, around-the-clock security coverage for the governor and his staff and his family. So, we were aware of those protests, but again, that's handled by that security detail, and appropriate measures were taken to ensure the safety of the governor. What
are you worried about today, if anything?
Not worried at all. We believe that we've got a good handle on things. We want to make sure that everyone understands that we're not here to disrupt anybody's right to protest or right to free speech. We want to make sure that, again, we provide an environment where they can do it safely. So we hope that people will understand that and just follow the direction of the troopers that are there on scene. And that would make things go a lot easier today.
Yeah, I think it would be an important distinction to remember that you don't represent the government necessarily. You represent safety.
We do.
You're represent not political.
We're the guardians of our democracy.
No matter what goes on over there.
Exactly. This is our democracy at work, and we're the guardians of the democracy here on the homeland. So, again, right to free speech, right to free press, and the right for the legislators to come in and be able to do their job in a safe environment.
What would you recommend for someone who's coming today? I mean, I know some of the streets will be closed. Parking might be difficult.
Yeah, parking will be difficult. The streets on every side of the Capitol will be closed. It's very cold outside, so dress warmly and bring your gloves if you plan on standing outside before you're allowed inside the Capitol. But yeah, get down here early. There are paid parking areas, facilities around the Capitol, but just follow the directions. We've got our local law enforcement partners that are working their normal areas of responsibility to ensure that traffic is flowing in a manner that allows people to get through.
You know, I've asked this question before, and it's an unpleasant question, but you do not have to go through a metal detector to get into the Capitol building, yet across the street to get into the city building where the courts are and that sort of thing, you do. Seems unusual that you wouldn't have to go through a detector to get in the state capitol.
It does, but those are the rules of our democracy that we have to follow. So we would hope that people will be responsible when they come in and ensure that they're also considering the safety of everyone else around them.
You don't want damage to the building. You don't want anyone to get hurt inside the Capitol. So as I understand it, the first 2,000 in, they're in, and after that, that's what the fire marshal dictates. True?
Well, that partially true. We won't close the Capitol at all. There's going to be a flow of people in and out of the Capitol. And again, there are different areas of the Capitol that can hold more people than others. So that's going to be our focus, making sure that the flow and the distribution of people is appropriate within the Capitol.
Too many people around that dome area and the rotunda area with the railings and that kind of thing. That's a dangerous situation.
That's a dangerous situation. The ground floor actually holds twice as many people as the upper floors. So you want to consider that. The stairwell areas have to remain open in case of an emergency, that we can get people in and out, emergency services personnel in and out if need be.
Thank you very much. Very, very impressive, and it's nice to meet you, and be safe today.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Say hi to Colonel Etchu for us, too,
okay,
if you
will
would,
do.
please. He is Captain Harold Love, Public Affairs Liaison for the Michigan State Police at 8 minutes before the hour. Michael Patrick Shields in the AT&T studio. Sports is coming your way next, and full coverage all morning of the Right to Work protests. They're getting national attention right here in Lansing, Michigan.